Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on the channel. Today will be our Game Week 29 deadline stream. I'm just after finishing work. I actually just left a meeting a moment ago, but I hope we're all well. I hope you can see and hear me. Let me quickly pull up some graphics. I'm just after finishing, so I've not actually had a chance to even put together graphics or anything. I think that's right. Yeah, so that should be okay. Let me sign into my account and we should be good to go. So, I hope we're all well. Do show face in chat. Actually, that's another thing I need to do. I need to pull your guys' chats up on screen. Bear with me just a second. Pop out chat. And my subscriber count in the top right seems to be broken as well, which is never ideal, but we'll get it sorted, guys. I hope you can see yourselves now. You can indeed. Let me close that, open that. Right, okay. I think we're all good as long as you guys can see and hear me. And let me just have chat to the side so I can answer everything necessary. But yeah, I hope we're all well. Let me know if you're just finished work yourself, what we're up to today. I mean, this is the first day in Ireland this year that we've not had rain, so that's a plus. We have Derek O'Reilly in here. He says, massive game for Tottenham. Come on, you Spurs. It is absolutely massive. There's even talks of Igor Tudor being sacked if he doesn't win. Anto, also in here. Hello, Anto. Yes, I got my #1 stream. Come on, you Spurs. Hope you're well, buddy. All is good, Anto. Chine the House says W Wrenches, and Liam is also here with a few questions. So say hello in chat again, and then we'll answer as many questions as possible. Look, this is a game week where there's loads of talk about the fitness of many players, whether it's Wilson, Rice, Haaland, of course. People are looking to sell Rodgers, bring in Ekatike and Salah if you don't already have them. And it's an unusual week, I'll be honest, because not often are we faced with this many dilemmas in terms of, the sheer amount of potential injuries without any concrete information on whether or not they're going to be out or not. Just to quickly let you know where I stand in this current moment, and this could change throughout the stream. First off, I want to go on Twitter because I seen a tweet from FPL this FPL, sorry. For anyone who doesn't know, Luke is on Black Box. Again, he's probably the most reliable in terms of City in our community that's not going to directly leak. So whether it's predictions about players that are going to start for City or his own opinion, Luke is quite more than not bang on. Now, that's not to say he's going to be bang on this game week, because I do think this game week is pretty much a guessing game. But if we take a look at Luke's predicted lineup and what he said for this current game week, so he has Haaland starting this week. With let me actually quickly run through the team. He has Donnarumma, Diaz, Gahey, Nunes, Rodri, Aït-Nouri, Silva, O'Reilly, Semenyo, Marmoush, and Haaland. And that's O'Reilly and Haaland starting out of the ones where there are question marks. By the way, hello Sharp, good to see you. We have Maliki, Ballers, RMS, Michael, LVB, Ballers. Good to see you all. Again, I'll get back to all your questions in just a second. I just think this is probably the most crucial thing at this current point in time. But I feel like this is definitely a good thing to look at, and that's Luke's projected lineup. And just on what his comments were on this, it was instinct is if Haaland and Nico O'Reilly are fit to play, hard to guess when we do not know the fitness and info with a short turnaround. Reinders in for Nico O'Reilly if he's not fit. Shirky in for Haaland, same as last game. Marmoush start if no Haaland, otherwise he's most at risk tactically. The information we have is clear. They are doubts being like 51-49% on a decision with limited info. Is not worth basing your hopes and dreams on me. So just a caveat. Even Luke is saying, as reliable as he can be at sometimes, it is pretty much guesswork. So if someone who I would probably hang my hat on to make guesses on City, he is of course a City fan. Your timer's wrong. Sorry, let me update that real quick. If Luke is thinking that, then I would trust him on it. His guess is better than mine, so I'm going to go with his guess is basically what I'm saying. Let me quickly update that script for you guys so we are on time, and hopefully everything else is running smoothly. The only thing that's not working currently is the subscriber thing, but I actually can't fix that in this current point of time. The other thing I'm going to do actually that you guys are not going to see is I'm actually just going to change the rank, because I did indeed get a rank increase last game week to 450k. Again, I do apologize, I'm absolutely all over the place. I literally just finished work, and when I say literally, I just got off the phone, so bear with me just a second, guys, and I'll have it up to date for you. Where are we? We are here, 450k I think we're currently. I'm just going to pull my rank, guys, sorry. I do show face in chat if you are in here. Again, midweek deadline, these are usually quite harder for me to do because I am in work, but nonetheless, we show up and look forward to the game week. I mean, this is an unusual week because, you know, it's one of those that come 2 weeks before a blank game week, and because I've already hit the wildcard button, I'm in a different position to many. Now, in my current team, I actually have a significant amount of players who do play game week 31. You know, it's not exactly like I'm currently clutching at straws, and we'll get through my team in just a second. You know what? We'll talk about it just now. On goal, I've got Sanchez. 3 at the back, Gabriel, Thiago, and Senesi. 4 in midfield with Fernandez, Rodgers, Ndiaye, and Semenyo. And 3 up top with Haaland, Thiago, and Krupi Jr. On the bench, I've currently got Dubravka, Enzo, Hill, and Chalobah. To start off, captaincy. Captaincy is all over the place because of the information we have about Haaland. A lot of people will be bold enough to go against him anyway, due to the doubts that there are. For me, I do think there is a potential chance he comes off the bench. I say slight chance. So I don't know how willing I am to throw on the armband on him. By the way, I just updated the rank on screen. I do apologise about that. But for me, I think I'd be more than willing to go against captaincy this game, because basically where I'm getting at. And the reason for that is because I think I like how the fixtures land for Ndiaye, Semenyo, and Bruno. Look, I don't mind Bruno as a captaincy option this week. And on that point, let's actually pull up Rob T's graph so we can talk over it. I don't mind Bruno as an option this week. Never in any single game week is Bruno a bad option. I think that's the first thing. And everyone will tell you that. I'm just going to pull up a graph and we can look at the graphic. Sorry, guys. Projections for the game week. Here's what we look at. So, if Haaland is fit to play, he is by far, and no surprise, top of the tree for projected goal scores this week. Calvert-Lewin in second, Marmoush in third. Salah, Ekitike, 2 players I do not own that many people are going towards. It is a shame that I can't quite get there, but definitely phenomenal options. And if I did have Mo Salah this game week, I would be putting the armband on him. Ekitike, who's definitely a good option, but you probably wouldn't captain him due to, you know, his pen share and routes to points not the same as Salah. Thiago, which many do own. Raul, who's on form. Same with Barry. Semenyo, who I've got on my own team, definitely really high to, very happy to own. Considering, you know, when we look at midfielders on this list, he's probably the highest from a goal scoring perspective who's not on pens. So it's always a good sign. Solanke and Richarlison somehow making their way onto this list. Victor Gyökeres as well. Evan Nilsson, Palmer, Saka, Ndiaye, Sesko, Watkins, Sarr, and Pedro. Stop with the Salah nonsense, says Malky. Not a happy Salah non-owner there. Again, I'll get to your questions in just a second. But basically, my point is, it is a good week to go differential. I mean, you look at a lot of the top scorers for this game week. You have Salah and Ekitike. You even have Thiago very high. Semenyo's really high. And also Iliman Ndiaye, who provides his DEFCON numbers and also his own assist capability with 90 minutes. So it's not the worst week to go against it. And if I just quickly look at, you know, how some of the games are falling. If I just quickly put it up here. Liverpool second on the list, and City first, of course, which is no surprise. And don't be surprised to see that drop if closer to the time we do figure out Haaland's going to get a bench, and similar to last game week. Again, City do play on the Wednesday, sorry. And tonight we have Liverpool. Liverpool being the biggest game, really. I mean, we have Brentford and Bournemouth, which a lot will own, but Everton for myself with Iliman and Joy. And just looking at that, guys, like Salah, who's going to get, at least 75 minutes for me, and I'd be shocked to see him benched, to be honest. Ekitike and Semenyo, they're phenomenal options in their own right, given that they're going to have good minutes. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So, I really don't mind the differential captain this game week, I'll be completely honest. Elsewhere in the list, I mean, looking at United, 1.62. That's as good as Bournemouth versus Brentford. Like, I don't see Bruno being a standout pick, even if Haaland was 100% confirmed out for me. And that's just me. I have £10 on DCL to get a brace, 9-1, but still back in Haaland captain. I mean, yeah, that just goes to show how high DCL is projected this game week, and also the risk on Haaland. Like, if you don't go Haaland and he does play, and a lot of people are still going to captain him by default because he's not ruled out or anything. You could be in some serious trouble. Hello, good evening, Kit. I hope you're well. 10k overall, but chasing in my mini league. If I was 10k overall and chasing in my mini league, I actually wouldn't be doing too much different. I would keep doing what I'm doing and hoping that you can make the difference in the last few game weeks. Casey says, good luck. Hello, Paul. Good to see you. Anish says, hey, Chai. Chai is the GOAT. Good to see you, Anish, my man. Anyway, getting back to the Rob T graphic. There are a lot of very close games looking at the game week. I mean, even starting off the week with Bournemouth, Brentford, Leeds, Sunderland, which I think will be a close game. Fulham, West Ham, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Villa, Chelsea. They're very, very well matched, I have to say. Like, there are no other standouts other than City and Liverpool. Sure, you have Arsenal as well, but for me, Arsenal are a team who are very, very reliant on their set pieces, which I think is fair to say. I don't mind them, but realistically, we're not owning many of their attackers in the first place. Thank you, Anish, for 18 months of a cup of chai. Again, our longest reigning channel member. Cheers to a greener game week. Absolutely that, Anish. And thank you for supporting the channel as usual, my friend. And I hope we're answering as much as possible. And great to see you in the group chat, always active. But thank you, Anish, for the super chat. Or for the membership. How we doing, Jose? Good to see you. I'm all well. Just finished work. Crazy to captain a Liverpool attacker. In general, I don't think it's a bad option. I mean, Szoboszlai seems to be playing quite advanced and he's playing very well. He's been probably Liverpool's best player this season. So I don't think it's the roguish shout, particularly when it's going to be a week where a lot of people will be going against it. Again, just to go back to the projections for this week in terms of goals. Again, Thiago is so high on the list for an away fixture, considering he plays for Brentford, but he's just such a good option this game week. Up the niche, absolutely that sharp. Rice to Gakpo, I don't mind that move at all, actually. Last week I spoke about how Gakpo, was an underrated pick. Sorry guys, I'm actually just going to turn on the light in this room. Give me 2 seconds. But Gakpo or any Liverpool asset in that Liverpool team currently, I feel like are definitely a good option. It doesn't have to be Salah. Again, Salah is the one who's not being involved in the goals, and that's why I say, it doesn't bother me if you want to go with a Gakpo, if I'm being completely honest. Hello, football and stuff. Hope you're well. Yeah, just the last thing before we move on from this list. I think, Solanke and Richarlison being on this list is interesting. For me, Solanke is going to get every minute he can for the remainder of the season, because, again, Spurs are realistically in a relegation battle, which pains me to say, but look, it is what it is, and therefore I think Solanke, who's on pens, is going to get very, very good minutes for Spurs. I don't think he's the worst shout. He's 7.2 million, and I'm surprised to see him on this list, on this left-hand column, if I'm being completely honest. I really want to go with Salah this week, but the news on Haaland have really put me off. I'm really confident he will play. And that's the thing, at the end of the day, City are on for the league. If I just look at Haaland and his minutes, didn't play after the Newcastle game. And for me, I think it was just the sheer amount of effort he put in that game. I mean, he was running around like a bull in that game, and it probably was just strain. Like, I don't think it was a big injury. And I do feel like, it could have been a case where he was just rested, given, how fast the turnaround was. And with the likes of Marmoush being around, then, you don't need to risk Haaland for the remainder of the season. And they also have the FA Cup and they have the Champions League to look forward to. So I think, if you're to ask me right now, given my current position, I actually don't mind holding on to Erling Haaland. And if it's the case of getting Enzo off the bench, so be it. I don't think Enzo is the absolute worst option to get off the bench with Villa away, given their form. And having Semenyo, the big thing is captaincy. If I go with Semenyo, I will be going against pretty much everyone else's options. I mean, everyone else is going for a Salah, Ekitike, and then Bruno in that order. I'll be going without all of them, which, is quite painful. Good luck, buddy. Surely you beat Palace. As a Villa fan, Rob, do Watkins to Ekitike if you have a free transfer? Watkins will play and may score and have confidence is so low and it's been all season. Sorry, is there a Rob in chat? Oh, there is a Rob in chat. Sorry. Spurs get relegated? I don't think so, Chicken. I don't think so. Look, if we just bring up the Premier League table, I know we're getting sidetracked, but I do not see that. Why is it so difficult to pull up the Premier League table? Premier League. Here it is. Spurs are currently, how many points is that? 4 points ahead of West Ham. The problem with this for West Ham is their run. I mean, they have an absolutely woeful run. Away to Fulham, home to City, away to Villa, home to Wolves. Sorry, guys. Home to Arsenal, away to Newcastle, home to Leeds. There's some real tough games in there. So right now, it could easily change this game week. If West Ham get a result, and so do Forest, and Spurs lose this game week, I think we're in big trouble. Big, big trouble. Thank you. Bless you. Should I sell one? I have Rodon, Dorgu, Royce, Wilson, and Haaland, or roll and hope for the best. I would probably sell Royce if I'm being honest, because he blanks in 31 anyway. I don't think you need to do it. I don't mind. I do think, there's a good chance that at least one or two of Royce, Wilson, and Haaland play. Hey man, bench boost Rodgers, Krupi, Senesi, Dubravka. Absolutely, I would. I don't think I'd think twice about it. Again, I'm a man who's hit a bench boost and got 4 points this season, so maybe don't take my advice, but if I'm looking at that bench for this game week, I definitely would. Me personally. Hey Chai, good evening. Just finished work, same as yourself. Same as you, I take it. Yeah, exactly. I just finished thought. Missed some price drops in Buemo Rodgers for Ekitike, some midfielder. Overall, I want to say yes to those moves. I mean, Ekitike looks to be an amazing shout still. The problem I have with that is I still feel like Mbeumo and Rodgers are good assets. I know they've been underwhelming. I say underwhelming, and Mbeumo not even underwhelming, but I still think the United attack is one of the best in the league. I still look at Rodgers as a decent hold with Chelsea at home and, good fixture in 31, and United away is not the end of the world either. But that's just me though. And I'm a bit more stingy with my transfers. I don't look at it as something that I have to do. Because I do have Enzo on the bench where he plays Villa, and if I were to get Enzo off the bench, I don't think it's too much of a hassle for me, with Haaland potentially being out. Have we gotten any news regarding Haaland? Well, we've got a quote from Pep, and he said he'll be assessed in training today. Let me just pull up the full quote because I am paraphrasing. Let me just pull up Oscar, because he will have definitely posted about it. Yeah, let's just go through the updates then. So, he feels much better than yesterday. We didn't train, and now we have training. We will decide today. On O'Reilly, the same. So it's pretty much nothing. Harry Wilson, the last decisions on some players will be made tomorrow. Royce, or just on Wilson again. Anderson will be 100% back. Harry Wilson is one of the players we have to keep assessing. Let's see. Arteta on Royce. He was much better today. Hopefully he's going to be better for tomorrow. And then that is pretty much it. For me, what it comes down to and how I would make my decisions on, Royce, Wilson and Haaland. I would look at the nature of the injury. Let's quickly pull up Royce. So Royce got subbed off on the 75th minute. Now, looking at this game for what it is, you're 2-1 up versus Chelsea, and Royce is your best player. He's played 90 minutes in every single game he pretty much can this season. Do you take him off in a massive game while you're on for the title? Unless you have to. No, absolutely not. You don't. So there's a problem there. The turnaround is, 3 days from Chelsea, I want to say. 3 days-ish. So there's without a doubt a problem with Royce. It's not just a case where he was, taken off just in case. So I think there's a decent chance that Royce will miss out. If we look at Wilson then, again, very similar to Royce. Again, this time around he said he felt something at half time and he might need to be subbed to Silva. And then same thing again, game started to get close, subbed him off the 71st minute. For me, that indicates there's also something wrong with Wilson. The only thing that is, a bit different with Wilson is it was an earlier sub. Where in comparison to Royce, he stayed on that tiny bit longer, 5 minutes after. And by the time he had got the knock, it is a small bit different. But, it doesn't look great, I'll be honest. And then Haaland is the other one that, he didn't play versus... Let me quickly pull up the fixtures for City, man. And look at the lineup. So he played against Fulham. Didn't play against Salford. Didn't play against Newcastle. Or played against Newcastle, sorry. I don't know why I said that. I thought this was the cup game for some reason. And then missed the Leeds game. So the Newcastle one is the one where he absolutely ran himself into the ground. Like, he was everywhere. He put in a shift and a half. Similar to what we see Kane do, all around the pitch. And then he missed the Leeds game because I think he was probably... Because he's been struggling with some sort of injury here. And then put in an absolute monstrous shift. I think he could... there's a chance he could have just been rested because he was bet for the Leeds game. So I do think I'm a bit more hopeful on Haaland, I'll be honest. And it pains me to say it because for weeks now I've been leading the line on wanting to get Mo Salah. I just don't think it's necessary for my team. I'm trapped in Dubai, not going to be able to watch these games. Are you serious, Fergus? Dead ass, you're actually trapped in Dubai and you're there listening to me. My God. I'm sorry to hear that if that is true, Fergus. Wilson rolled his ankle. Yes, he did indeed. Sorry, I don't know if I said he didn't, but yeah, he rolled his ankle at just before half time. Wilson actually scores points unlike Rodgers. Fair point. Yeah, there's also the other thing in where you see reduced minutes for Haaland, but again, if Haaland is fit enough to play, the only way I see him getting really early subbed is City are cruising, but I don't see that be the case. Fergus was meant to leave today. You poor bastard, man. And how are you feeling about it? I mean, it actually only hit me today that there are a lot of people, even around the football world, like Ronaldo, who've had to flee Saudi. Let me know what's going on in Dubai, or have you seen anything crazy? I'm sorry to hear, man. You're the last man standing for Salah Nation in FPL. Exactly, Todd. And yet I'm sitting here and I'm not convinced in bringing him in because I think there's a good chance Haaland might be fine. Thank you, Anto, for the one gifted channel membership. And who else but him wins it? My man Dream. Fair play, Dream. And thank you, Anto, as usual, for supporting the channel. In here every single week for the deadline streams, gifting one. I mean, you're an absolute hero. I mean, I can't thank you enough. I say it every single week, but you never change, Anto. And you're the GOAT. You're the absolute GOAT, Anto. Ahmed is also in the boy, but he's definitely watching the games. What is going on, lads? That is insane. Should I captain Bruno or Ekitike? I would probably do Ekitike if I had him. Chai and Dye or Iwobi for a 1 week punt. I would definitely go in Dye. Dream says cheers. Start Sarr or Wilson, Chai. If I had, if I'm being honest, if I had Wilson or Sarr, I probably would just play Sarr. The doubts would put me off, and also Sarr's on pens and he plays against Tottenham. Sharp with the green arrow emoji. I forgot about the green arrow emojis, man. Love this channel, man. Supporting you, my man. Much love, Anto. Choi, if the deadline was in 2 minutes, what would your transfer be? That sounds like a man who is looking to bounce in about 2 minutes. So I'll be dead honest. If this were me in 100 and or if this were me in 90 minutes time, sorry, I got confused for a second, I would be rolling. I'll be completely honest. And the reason I'd be rolling is I'm hot on City for the league. I look at Forest as an excellent game. I'm more than willing to roll the dice on Haaland on a home fixture in comparison to Wolves in a away fixture, who have looked a bit tidy. My problem is, to get Salah, I have to take a hit. I have no route to Ekitike unless I sell Haaland. I have no problem playing Enzo if Haaland is out. So I am willing to roll the transfer. And I know it sounds so boring and it's just not who I am, but I look at the players that I currently have. I don't look at any of that midfield and go, they're a problem. I actually think that midfield is great for this game week. Krupi, I'm really hopeful of owning this game week because how his minutes have looked in recent weeks. Plus, I think this game for Bournemouth is great. I really like this game for Bournemouth. Thiago again, always never going to be a problem. And Haaland, I am hopeful on. That defence and goalkeeper, whatever. I mean, I'm always going to ride it out with Brighton. I don't think it's the worst fixture in the world. So the answer would be I'd be rolling. I think the bigger conversation for me is who's my captain going to be on. Why is Haaland not cap over Semenyo in case he plays? Because I do think there's another option that Haaland is on the bench or Haaland plays but gets very limited minutes. I think Semenyo will play 90 minutes in this game. Again, if I quickly look at City and their fixtures, their next game is in the Cup away at Newcastle, and that comes in 4 days. That's more than enough time for, Semenyo to get full 90 for me. Surprised you're playing Krupi over Enzo. Look, that is a decision. And that's for sure. Look, it's not as easy as just playing Krupi over Enzo and leaving it at that. I think there will be many goals in the Villa game. As bad as Villa have been, the one thing I would say about them is that they've kept it close. Like, they have really kept it close in a lot of the games that they've played. They've been useless. But, like, it's not a case of them being rolled over or destroyed. I mean, it's actually the opposite, to be honest. 2-0 versus Wolves, sure. But Leeds 1-0, Brighton 1-0, Bournemouth 1-0, Brentford 1-0, Newcastle they beat, Everton 1-0, Crystal Palace they drew 0-0, Forest they beat. The only game they actually got rolled over was versus Arsenal, and I mean, other than that, they haven't been a terrible team. The problem is they can't get going in the attack. So that was my thought process in benching Enzo. In comparison to the Bournemouth game, and I really do look at it like this, Bournemouth versus Brentford could be any scoreline, I think. Brentford just conceded 4 goals to Burnley. And again, I just want to get back to this question from Fergus. I hope you're still with us, my man. I'm sorry again. Let me quickly... Fergus says, yeah, it's been a bit mad. Saturday was bad. Loads of missile interceptions all day. Hotel was evacuated at 2 a.m. for about an hour. Been okay since then. A couple of interceptions right above my head each day, but I feel safe. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm sorry to hear that, Ferguson. Thank you for letting us know. Again, I've been curious because it is absolutely insane given that, Dubai are, on paper a neutral state. But to be honest, it probably doesn't come as a surprise given the US backing in the Middle East, in Dubai, and also how close they are to everything that's going on. But absolutely fucking insane stuff, man. And I hope you're keeping safe, and hopefully you will get home safe. But again, thank you for the update. Chewy in the building. Hello, Chewy. Says we're in DI cap. You know what, Chewy? Every time I have NDI playing, I'll be honest, I do think of you, because when I think of NDI, I think of you. You're pretty much an NDI stan. Dream says, tell him Chewy. Absolutely. I'm actually going to do let's do something in chat, guys. I want you all to engage, and depending on the engagement, I might gift 5 memberships. But here's what we're going to do. And instead of doing a poll, we're going to go much quieter in the boy now, says JC. Good. Let's do a poll on Erling Haaland first. I want you to type 1 in chat if you think he's going to play. 1 for play, 2 for out. 1 for Haaland starting, 2 for Haaland missing the game. I'm going to put a 1 because I do think he'll play. And then we're going to do this for other players. So get your engagement in. Given the engagement, then we're going to send out some memberships. Again, I have 5 to gift out. So do get engaged, guys. It'll be interesting to see the sheer amount of people that think he'll be out versus in. It's much better than voting on a poll, in my opinion. And also, it'll give you a chance for engaging to win a membership. We have a lot of 1s in the building. JC thinks a 2. Kit also thinks a 2. If you think a 2, 3 for sub. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea, noob. 3 for sub. Fahim says 1. Shaf says 1. Ahmed says 2. Sorry, what? As you guys do it, this is fucking insane. Ahmed is saying they intercepted over 800 missiles, so you hear all over. It's decreasing now, but it's moving normal remote school and remote work. Captaining Ekatike, by the way. Ahmed, that is insane, that sentence. What is going on in the world? The fact that you're in here while this is going on, Ahmed, is insane. But yeah, a good few 2s coming in. SA says 2, Harold says 2. Noob seems to think he's going to be a sub. Madrid game is next week, so reckon he'll get some mins, then rest in the cup. Interesting. 1.5 sitting on the fence. Bro is laughing about the bombs. I'm not laughing about the bombs. I'm laughing at the fact that people are here listening to me fucking ramble on while there's real world problems going on. And at the same time, they're putting, oh, by the way, my captain is Ekatike. Like, that is insane, and fair play for you to keeping your spirit and, continuing to play FPL, because at the end of the day, FPL is your absolute least of your worries. Fergus says, the worst part was the hotel I stayed in last time I was here was a hotel where the missile fragments dropped outside. I nearly booked the hotel this time round. Thank God I didn't. Yeah, jeez, Fergus. I mean, Fergus, it's very minor things that are happening. I mean, I look at even my own brother, and he was in Dubai only the other month. So the timing, man. The only way Oliver says I bring in Ekatike without taking a hit is Haaland. I'm in the exact same boat, Oliver. I have Thiago, Krupi, and every other chip. Okay, the general consensus seems to be that Haaland is going to play. Interesting that you guys think that. Hello, Harren in chat. FPL first worried and surviving World War 3. Keen start. I'm not very hopeful. Alright, let's move on to, again, same thing. 1 for start, 2 for bench, and let's do Harry Wilson. I actually think this is the one I'm probably most on the fence for. I'll be completely honest. It's weird, I'm here having a cup of tea and there's places in the world being missile and drone swarmed. Bonkers world we live in. Absolutely. And that's why I think I'm very grateful. Again, like, it's crazy when you really think of it. And I'm someone who's very in tune with the news. Unfortunately, I want to say, because it can take a toll on people. But for me, I like to be, because I always think, what if, what if, what if, and it's not the nicest thing to be, or way to be looking at things. But Casey says 2, JC says 1, Ty says 1, Chewy says 2. Yeah, a lot of twos in there, guys. Ahmed says minutes off the bench. I reckon Wilson sits out and Oscar Bob plays. I think that's a very possibility there. And I'm actually going to go with a 2 as well. Ignorance is bliss, says Kit. Absolutely. And again, it's, unfortunately, I hate to be ignorant, because I also think it's very good to be educated about what's going on in the world. I don't like to be oblivious about real world problems, because again, it really does change your perspective on things that are actually going on and real world problems. Like, I mean, I'm here worrying about my FPL decisions, and there are other people who are also doing the same, but except in a position where they have to worry about what's going on in the next era. So, all right, general consensus seems to be 50-50 on Wilson then. I think there is just as many 2s as 1s. Let's then do, lastly, Declan Rice. 1s or 2, guys. For me, I'm actually going to go with a 2. And the reason I'm going to go for a 2 is because I think, he's their best player. I just think given the early sub in such a big game is very much telling. I don't think they'll have a problem playing another midfielder given the quality that they have. 2, 1, 2. Okay, I've been very impressed with the engagement you guys are having. So we're actually going to give away 5 channel memberships. So stay tuned for just a second. I want to see what you guys' response are. Again, this is another one that's very, very torn. Chewy says... Sorry, I just want to get back from that question from Chewy. Says, to be fair, I don't blame you for switching off. I'm 8 out of 11 for captaincy blanks recently and have 6 blanks in a row. I mean, yeah. It's been hard to call for me though, Chewy. Like, I don't think that's anything to do with you. I haven't been great with it either. 2 says Toy. Magic says 1. Fahim says 1. Sean says 1. Anto says 2. Oliver says 2. Very, very mixed. Okay, lastly, before we give out the 5 channel memberships then, if you could do me a favour, ladies and gentlemen, to the 120 of you guys that are watching, do hit the like button. Again, I do really appreciate you guys. I never tweeted that I was live, by the way, so I should probably do that. Forgot to tweet. I'm live now. And then alert. By the way, if you do have Twitter, much appreciated if you can engage on this just to get it on the algorithm. If not, all good. And I'm just going to share the link for the stream. Again, much appreciated, guys. Much love for all you joining me. Will that link work for me? I am live now. Up the sharp, man. Up the sharp. That's brilliant. Thank you, Sharp, to go as usual. And JC, it's good to see all the active guys are getting the memberships. And the ones that are often quite in here. So fair play, JC, for winning the membership. Thank you, Sharp, for supporting us as usual. What we're going to do is there's going to be a code word that I want you guys to... Thank you, Chewy. And thank you for subscribing, KC. That I want you to put in the chat, up the sharp. What we're going to do is up the sharp. No, that's not fair, because Anto also sent in a channel membership. Let's do up the sharp. UTCA, up the sharp, and Anto. Because Anto also gifted 1 membership. And then we will send out your 5 memberships. So again, much appreciated for all you who are in here. For some reason, you're listening to me ramble on ahead of a lot of different content creators that you could be listening to who are having better seasons than me. But I hope you enjoy being in here, guys. Up the sharp, up the Anto. Get it in, UTCA, and then we'll gift out these memberships. Spam exclamation mark. We'll do the draw at 1:45 again, so stay in here while you can. I'm actually just going to scroll through the timeline while you guys spam the chat. Again, a lot of responses from you guys, so much appreciate the engagement. Let's see what some of the broader community are doing while you guys spam the shit out of chat. Much love, guys. Okay, this is actually really important and something that I wanted to see. And a very big discussion point, and I wonder how Twitter is reacting to this. Alright, guys, let's send these out. Big up to Anto, lads. Alright, let's do it, lads. And best of luck to anyone who wants to win a membership. For anyone who's just become a member or about to become one, let's spam the up green arrow in chat to say up all the lads who've won them. So, let's send out these memberships now, guys. And best of luck. What we spamming about to win a membership? Again, guys who are interacting with the chat has won. This is what we love to see. Derek O'Reilly, a long reigning member in here. Johan, Remote, Potential, and Ty. Congratulations, guys. For those who are a member already, do spam the green arrow button in your emoji section. And thank you for being in here. Again, we do have another 5 to give out. I don't know if I'll give them out on this stream, but congrats to you guys who have won them, and then we'll get back to the FPL. So, if you've won one, do show face in chat. How many did I just give out? 5? Okay, sorry, that was glitching for me. Made my week even though I'm in Dubai means a lot. Thank you. That's what I love to see, man. That's what I love to see. It's the little things, man. It is the little things. Okay, guys. Thank you all for engaging. Now what we're going to do is let's quickly take a look at this from Rob T. For anyone who is unfamiliar, last week we got basically the leak that HAALAND wasn't playing, but it came after the deadline. Or was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. That the City projections actually changed 0.18 because HAALAND was not going to start this game. Now, when I'm looking at these odds for this week, part of me thinks 0.18 is very large for Liverpool to decrease. Now, this could be for a multitude of reasons. This could be because Wolves have improved as a team. The bookies actually fancy Wolves to, you know, be a bit better than projected. It could mean Salah is on the bench. You know, 0.18 is a lot. It could mean Ekitike. No, Ekitike is not going to be on the bench. But what I'm trying to say is, it could mean something. The 0.08 is actually, you know, this would increase my mind on my hopes for Wilson starting. Hopes for Wilson starting, and also Fulham now taking on good form, I imagine, and also West Ham after being bashed versus Liverpool. Maybe there's been a recalculation there. Bournemouth 0.09. To be honest, I think this might be Evan Nilsson missing out. And again, he's quite often a starter. And City 0.08. Again, I'm not going to comment on that before I read this from Rob. He says, only minor fluctuations in the City line since the weekend, including after today's press conferences. Nothing to suggest any major drop with the same still less than 24, with the game less than 24 hours away. It is unlikely there'll be anything obvious before the deadline. So again, it's nothing to do really with HAALAND. Liverpool won quite interesting. Would there be a reason? Rob says, think that it's just an adjustment to slightly punching opening line. Wolves have been a bit better as of late, like I just said, and not showing any signs of giving up just yet. So agree with all of them. Chewy in chat says Liverpool drop must mean confirmation of Cody Gakpo starting. Absolutely love that, Chewy. Dream says, Chai, a fun question. Sorry, I'm just going to leave those projections on screen. If you could go for Palmer and Ekitike or Salah and DCL, who are you going for? I would, without a doubt, go Salah and DCL, I think. I mean, the markets are quite high in DCL. I think Leeds have been a very well-functioning team. Salah is definitely my preference over a Palmer. And DCL and Ekitike is actually much closer than probably meets the eye due to DCL being on penalties. Ty says, is having Salah enough to not entirely... Is Salah... Oh, yeah, sorry, not to captain him. If I had Salah, I'd be captaining him. And I don't think I'd look any much further than that. Look, the market odds have changed, but again, I don't think it is anything to do with anyone being benched. Would you keep Royce or Timber if you had 3 free transfers? I would keep Timber. Are we going down, Chai, says Moon? I don't think so, Moon. Again, like I said, it only takes one result here for Tottenham to somehow not be in a relegation fight. If we win our next game and West Ham lose, that's a 7-point difference. And we have a much, much better fixture run than West Ham. And also, Spurs have a multitude of players coming back from either suspension or injury. So, right now I'm going to say no. I'm a hopeful fan, even though I don't know when why I am. You know what I was looking at the other day, and I was, looking at this. In previous seasons, I always said, imagine being a Burnley fan. What keeps them going? How do they go watch their team lose every single week? And now this season, particularly from October on, look at this run that we're on. Oh, I knew it was bad, but when you look at it on paper, oh my, that is something. And it does not get worse than that. It actually doesn't get worse than that. And it can't get worse than that. Feel like the only clean sheet this week will be City. Yeah, I'm actually of that same opinion. I don't see any clean sheet other than City. And, of course Arsenal always have their good chance. But Brighton are a team that always come up with goals. Start Hill or Lafie. Got double Brentford's attack against Hill though. Yeah. I'm going to say Lafie because there's also a chance that he hits Defcon. Are you going to see a more evenly matched game this week than Bournemouth and Brentford? I mean, look at those projections. 22% clean sheet each and a 1.53 almost goals projected each. I mean, that's nothing. Johnny says, tricky one for you today, Chai, in draft mode. Kolomwani versus Igor Jesus. Darlow in and sell Sanchez or Petrovic. Also, sell Ahmed to someone fun like a Bob or another free. I would sell Ahmed to Bob on draft mode. And I would preference Kolomwani over Igor Jesus. Hi Chai, João Pedro to Ekitike and Dorgo to Hill. Absolutely. I would play O'Reilly if I had him. Hey Chai, bench one of Anderson, Enzo, Rogers. I'm currently benching Enzo. And I would do the same. Royce to whom? I already have Dango and Wilson. Royce to... that's tough, man. Would you take a punt on Illiman and Di? It's not probably the most appealing thing. Tavernier, phenomenal option. Start Jose Sarr Dubravka. I would be playing Saw, me personally, for the save points. Up to third in the FPL Chai League, Sushant. Let's quickly pull up Sushant. I love, right? One of my favourite things is something that I forget about that is set up for you guys. And you guys always, you don't forget about it. Sushant has just brought up that he is third in my league. So let's bring up my FPL Chai mini league. Sushant is third. Hello, Sushant. Defcon Monsters is his team name. And shout out to Zaporan if you're in here. Sorry, I'm just going to go to what Sushant says. He says, thinking of doing Caicedo to Dewsbury Hall and making him vice captain with the captaincy armband on Haaland. Okay, let's take a look at Sushant's team. He had a phenomenal week last week. Again, I cannot look at his team for the following or for the week to come, but I quite like that, Sushant, assuming that you're just after bringing in Dewsbury Hall. Oh, sorry, Caicedo to Dewsbury Hall, sorry. Yeah, I love that. I think the other option is Semenyo if you're not going to go with Haaland. Your team is better than mine, I have to say. My God. I really like that team. No wonder why you're third. But yeah, I think vice captain Dewsbury Hall is completely reasonable. Bench one out of Royce, Rogers, Krupi. Currently benching Rogers. I would not be benching Rogers in any single week because if anything is going to come for Villa, and as underwhelming as they've been, for me it's going to be through Rogers. I still, again, another week in which we say it because we don't know. think that Rodgers has a chance of taking pens. For me, I would be benching Royce Shuey. Ekatike and Salah getting hit in for Frimpong to run away with an assist, an early clean sheet dream. Exactly that. Acho, you've come off the NDI captain. I have indeed. Did Gandhi put you off? Not necessarily Gandhi, just Everton as a whole. You know, I can't necessarily rely on Everton. Unsure who to go to. Haaland. Look, I'm hopeful on Haaland. I just don't know if he's, going to get 90 minutes. I actually feel like it's going to be really weird. I think this might be a week in which Haaland could potentially be under 100% EO. And Salah might be at some sort of ownership where he could actually hurt me. Are we still thinking Semenyo on pens if no Haaland? Yes, especially given how bad Marmoush's minutes have been. Alright, let's go back onto Twitter. I want to see what the general community is saying about the market projections, if anybody has said anything. Harry says start one for me, safety. By the way, guys, I hope you did enjoy the stream I done on Scout with Harry. Very enjoyable. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to filter my Twitter, see if we can get anything interesting. I don't think we will, but anyway, we'll keep an eye on it, guys. Look, the next thing I want to ask you guys, again, I know it's a bit harder to look at my team and you don't know my current situation, but 0 in the bank, 1 free transfer. Would you make a move with this team? Like, I feel like I could definitely play Hill, I could definitely play Enzo. I don't think they're worst of players to start this game week. So I don't really think it's necessary to make a move. Again, just me personally though. Suspicious Twitter. I mean, that's just Twitter in general though. I think anyone who knows Twitter is just full of absolute nonsense. Raining birds in your feed. That's what happens when you keep tabs on the war. I mean, your feed gets full of absolute nothingness. Best Enzo replacements or keep and start only 1 free transfer. Again, like I said, I don't think Enzo's the worst start. Especially when you have to consider that I might be playing him in game week 30 and 31. I don't mind holding on to him, personally. Alright, let's do a captaincy poll then. I asked you guys, who you think is starting. Who's your captain on this game week? Let's do Haaland. Let's do Bruno, who's the second most popular. Let's go Liverpool asset. And let's do other. I feel like it'd be so split. No one is safe on Twitter, says Christian. Always go straight to following. Yeah, see, I have no problem. Look, I just... I know we're all men here. I don't think it is a big deal, you know what I mean? So I have no problem scrolling past it because I know it's inevitably going to come up, and for me it's not a big deal. Again, look how split that poll is. Krupi or Enzo start. See, I'm starting Krupi, so... Alright, I'm just scrolling through to see...
I want to tell the world.
Sorry, guys. Apologies. I'm just scrolling through the feed. A tweet from Ben Crellin has been put up an hour ago, and I actually didn't pull this up. Let's look up Ben Crellin real quick. Ben says, it's the FA Cup 5th round this coming weekend. The FA Cup semi-final 7th round will almost certainly cause blanks in 34. After the quarter-final draw on Sunday/Monday, we'll have a clearer picture on who blanks in 34. If Newcastle beat City in the Cup on Saturday, City and Man City will not blank in 31. This isn't the game week to be making luxury transfers, as the info we'll get between 29 and 30 deadlines is pretty valuable. Blank game week 34 and double game week 33 will be confirmed in the midweek before game week 32. Okay, so that's another reason why it's very valuable to hold on to my transfer. In the case City do lose to Newcastle, which is after Forest, they will have a fixture in game week 31. That will absolutely change everything. One, for Haaland owners, because again, that means he'll play Palace in 31. And two, that means they'll have 2 extra players from my own team. And if City were to play that game, I mean, if I bring up FPL team, because that way I can filter the team on how it looks if he does play in 31. They have it filtering out. How about now? No, that still filters them out. But that would mean I'm able to play a team like this, which is a full 11. And the only players that have to bench are Gabriel and Timber, which means that I actually wouldn't necessarily need to sell them. So, yeah. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. Good to have it confirmed by Ben, though. I really want Haaland to be out again. Would help me make a gap ahead of the bench depth. I agree, Michael. It's hard. Harry Wilson news. All we got was they're assessing him today, and we'll see how he's feeling. Sorry, guys. Just checking something real quick. If you click on the fixture on FPL team, you can move it to another week.
Can you help me with my team chai? ID 2,410,839.
You're an absolute wizard. And you're someone who knows how to use FPL team, because I don't. So this is how my team would look in game week 31 if I were to have Haaland and Semenyo play. And the other thing is, thank you, Fahim, my brother, for sending in a 40... rupee super chat, my man. He says, can you help me with my team? Here's my ID. Of course we can. We'll take a look at that in just a second. But anyway, my point on Haaland was he becomes the best option for captaincy in not only game week 31, but also game week 30 and 33 if they get the double in 33, which won't happen if they blank. But they have Arsenal in that fixture. But it's something to think about. And for him, let's pull up your team. Again, the other thing I wanted to talk about is I have my triple captaincy to play, and it's one of the reasons why I was so incentivized to go to Mo Salah, if I'm being completely honest. First off, on your team, Fahim, I actually wouldn't make a move this game week for your team. I think it's perfect because realistically, I think there's more of a chance that one of Wilson and Rice play. And also Haaland, I'm confident that he's going to start. The problem with your team is probably captaincy. But for me, no problem making Bruno the captain and rolling into 30. Again, it's going to be very valuable to learn about game week 31 in the next week. So I would actually roll that, as boring as it is. It mightn't turn out your way, but I feel like the information is so valuable. And thank you for the super chat. What are your thoughts on the current Indian financial market? I'm actually not too educated on that, so I'm not going to give you an opinion. But from my understanding, don't quote me on this, but I said I'm just not going to give an opinion. But from what I can gather, is that, it is quite tough given everything that's going on. I'm unemployed. I only have that much AHM euros in my bank to pay chat. You don't need to pay me anything, Fahim. I do it for the love of the game, but anything else is a bonus and motivation for me. So much love. Michael says, who to start? Szoboszlai or Dango? I would definitely play Szoboszlai. And Krupi over Wilson. That one's tough. For me, I'd be playing Krupi. Who should I replace Royce with? Ndiaye, Szoboszlai, or Shade? I think for me the obvious one is Szoboszlai. Again, Szoboszlai doesn't, absolutely, appeal to me the most, but out of those options, he's probably the best. Ndiaye, of course, the best this game week, but don't absolutely love it. Would you start Wilson or Royce? I would probably play Royce. I think he's a better chance to start than Wilson. I'm very undecided. I think I've been 50-50 on that all day, I'll be honest. You're 100% right on Rodgers over Enzo, Chai, since you have Sanchez in goal. Another one coming in.
Thoughts? ID 2,469,956. Caillou DCL. Giago Cap. Cheers.
Thank you, Maximilian, as usual, who's in here. He says, Tuts, Marky to DCL and Thiago captain. Cheers, Choi. Let's quickly pull up your team. Everyone has pretty much similar teams, guys. What is going on? Guy to DCL. I don't think that's a necessary move, I'll be honest, Maximilian. I can understand it, but I would honestly rather have the money in the bank and play Enzo, being dead honest. And of course, I would play Dubravka over Verbergen. I still feel like that's a very solid team to go into the week. You must be at a very high rank, given the players that you've got. And thank you for the super chat, Maximilian. Hey, Chai, Joe Pedro for Ekatike or Thiago? I'm going to say Ekatike. Evan Nilsson to Ekatike, absolutely no-brainer. Please help Mane to DCL and start him over Somerville. Yes. Start Cash, Hill or Shalaba. If it were me, I'll be honest, I would just play Matty Cash. I know it is Chelsea away. Or Chelsea at home, sorry. But I would still... would I play Cash over Hill, though? Look, I won't be playing Shalaba. Indecisive, I'll be honest. Would you start Manoz or Wilson? I would definitely play Wilson. Manoz. Manoz plays against Tottenham, lads. Tottenham haven't won in a game in I don't know how long. You for rolling this week, Chai. I'm almost set on rolling. Look at the captaincy poll, lads. 30% of you on a Liverpool asset. 36% on Haaland and 14% on other. This is going to be a mad swingy week, and that's for sure. Ross, market odds. Sorry guys, just scrolling through to make sure we're not missing anything useful on the timeline. Again, I do hope you're enjoying the stream. Do hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't already. How many subs are we actually on? We are currently on... Let me quickly pull it up. 9.62. Slowly making our way up, guys, to the 10,000 mark. And you know what? This is actually, an interesting... Not okay. Maybe it's boring as hell to you, but some of my mindset going into the year. We started off the year at around 7 point something K. And I was talking to some of my friends because, some people in my area know that I obviously do FPL because, this place isn't very big in where I'm from. And anyone who does play FPL are likely engaged and they watch content, and one way or another I've come up. And I was thinking, like, if you're a channel if you were my channel who had 7,000-ish subscribers, you're still a moderately small channel in the grand scheme of things. But for me, once you hit 10,000, then that's a very I'm not going to say the word respectable. Anyone who makes content is respectable, but I mean, for me, I really wanted to get past that 10,000 mark. So that's going to be a massive goal, and that's why I've been so consistent so far this season. I'm really enjoyed making the content because it's been a very big goal of mine that I'm trying to hit. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit the button. Again, it's very motivating for me. For all of you who are already subscribed, again, it's been great having you guys in here week in, week out. And I do really appreciate it, especially the ones who are, for some reason, willing to, support me even further by hitting the membership button. or super chats. So the other currency where you can support me is, of course, hitting the subscribe button. Rodgers and Stack to Guy and Thiago. I don't think those moves are worth it, Sam, I'll be honest. How about triple Mo Salah? No, not for me this game week. Wait till the double. Would you transfer anyone or Royce or Enzo for Wilson or Szoboszlai? Royce or Enzo for Wilson or Szoboszlai? I probably would be tempted to do Royce to Szoboszlai, I'll be honest. Stefan says, would you manage having 3 defenders from Arsenal City? How would you manage starting 3 defenders from Arsenal City Palace up to game week 31, meaning you must sell one, already getting Virgil in? Yes. So that's the thing we were talking about earlier. I've got Senesi, Hill and Shalaba for 31. They all play. And if Haaland and Semenyo don't blank at 31, which they could, I think I might get away with it. But yes, as this thing stands, I must sell Timber, to be honest, to get 31 players, or to get 11 players. Just subbed on my second channel. Now that's dedication. Okay, where else was I at? Sorry guys, I got sidetracked. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to look at. So I want to pull up my own team for game week 34, for game week 33. So again, just for context, I have used my bench boost. That means I will not be using it in game week 33. And that also means there's a very good chance that I use the triple captain in game week 33, given that there's a space for me in the double game week. Now, looking at the fixtures in game week 33 in which I could potentially hit the triple captain button, of course, as things stand, you have Liverpool assets, you have City assets, and you have Newcastle assets. You also have Arsenal assets, but their fixtures are not great. Realistically, it's either City or Liverpool. Come game week 33, who am I going to own where I'd be more than willing to use the triple captain on? Well, as things stand, I don't own Mo Salah, so it's not going to be him. I don't own Virgil van Dijk, and I don't know if I'd be willing to triple captain a defender in a double game week. The other one is Semenyo or Haaland, who I am going to own for this Arsenal and Burnley game if I hold on to him this game week. And it's also part of the thinking on why I want to hold on to Haaland. The first thing is, sure, he might blank in 31, given that they proceed. So there's two, it's Boolean, right? City are either going to win the tie versus Newcastle in the Cup. If they win, then this exact permutation you're going to see is going to happen. If they lose, then they play in 31. So realistically, it's a win-win. And then also, that means that in 33 they play Arsenal, in 32 they play Chelsea. There might be a case for me to sell Haaland and potentially do the Salah move, given the fact that Liverpool play Fulham in 32 and have a very nice fixture in which I'd be willing to make a move if it meant triple captaining. So either way it kind of works out, I suppose. Like it's not the end of the world not getting the triple captaincy fixture in 33 with Arsenal and Burnley. And just to note, that fixture in 33, if they do double, is indeed at home to Arsenal. So, I'll be confident in going with a Haaland. And again, every game in the league for City for the remainder of the season, a must win. I can't believe the amount of people on Salah, lads. Igor Thiago, captain for Olympian. It's so funny seeing how many talking about buying Salah to captain him. It's pure talk based on models because I refuse to believe that you watch Liverpool and this move, but it's FPL, so if enough people buy, he probably gets a few pens. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Like I say, I always say it. I'm someone who's advocated for Salah this season so far. And again, the reason for it and why I can understand it is because at the end of the day, Liverpool are almost top of the tree every single game week for projected goals. The reason for that is because they do have the best attack in the league still. Maybe bar City. it's very close there. Salah's a man who's going to get 90 minutes in most weeks. I know in recent weeks it probably hasn't looked like that, but he's still on corners and penalties. Just because he's not been involved doesn't necessarily mean he won't be in the future. I mean, goals are being scored by Liverpool, just not through Salah. And I still feel like he's definitely a phenomenal option. So I don't think it's a case of, as easy to go with Salah, missing out with the goals. And also Haaland is a doubt at the end of the day. That's why people are selling him. It's less about Salah and more about the fact that you can get on someone else, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, start O'Reilly or Anderson. I would just play O'Reilly, man. Bruno. Okay, I want to get back to my team. So if I were to do a transfer this game week, because for some reason I decided, you know what, Haaland route is not the route for me, probably would be for Ekitike. And that's how the team would look with 5.2 million in the bank. Why I don't like that is because I don't necessarily want to sell Haaland, because I think there's a good chance he starts this game. The other move I could make would be to sell Enzo Fernandez. Sell Enzo Fernandez for who? I'm not quite sure. But I do think there is a chance I could also sell Enzo. Looking at the permutations of moves that I can make, I mean, no one really stands out for me, I'll be completely honest. Of course, you have Dominic Szoboszlai, but again, he is over the budget. The other thing I could do is just sell Rodgers, which is very popular, but I'm not with it. Again, the next 3 to 5 fixtures are very appealing to me. And Rodgers is still a player that I think, given 90 minutes in an Emery team, playing for the third place team in the league, I think this is forgotten about. I know they've been, they've had their blip, but Villa can do that, man. We've seen how they start the season not scoring goals and then suddenly can turn it on. This is an at-home fixture versus Chelsea, a team who've, been defensively not great. So, no problem playing Rodgers for me. I have Jurriën Timber, but zero reason to sell him. I think he gets this game versus Brighton. And then the other one I could do is selling Chalobah. The reason I don't like selling Chalobah is because he's not going to play for me this game week anyway. And I actually kind of have a benching decision to make. So I don't see that all that necessary. Again, if I just go back to FPL team, looking at game week 30, which is next week, ideally I roll going into this game week. I mean, that back four is absolutely perfect going into the week. This would be a week in which I'd actually start the Bravco over Sanchez. And this would also be a week in which I could start Enzo. I don't know if I would, but Enjoy drops to the bench and Krupi starts versus Burnley. And I have a decision on whether or not to start Enzo or NDI. In this week, we will know what happens in game week 31. And then coming out the other side in 31, let's say I roll this game week, because I think that's a very high probability that I do roll in game week 30. This is how we're set up for game week 31. And if you're asking me right now, I actually think it's not bad at all. Look, I only need to make one transfer. And that means I could potentially be going into game week 32 with 3 free transfers. And then we would definitely need to move on some players, because we will know in game week 32 what game week 33 looks like. And then of course 34 is the blank game week. So a lot to consider, guys. And that's why I'm so, adamant on trying to roll this transfer if I can. Kevin Shade, Iwobi, gone with Saka as a differential. I'm going Rayan. Would you do Rice to Szoboszlai or roll? To be honest, I don't mind the move, Deco, given that Szoboszlai plays in game week 31, of course. Downtown is asking about if I'm worried about Szoboszlai getting relegated. Spurs being relegated. I am worried. Look, I'll be lying if I said no. But do I think that is going to happen? No. Just on a -4 to get Salah. Very, very nice. Bench 1 of Anderson, Enzo and Hill. I would bench Red Anderson, if I'm being honest. Would you transfer Timber to Anderson this week if you had 3 free transfers? Absolutely not, I wouldn't. I don't see why you would do that, personally. Me personally, though. 41% of people are on Erling Haaland out of 200 votes. It's interesting. I don't know, lads. I don't know if I'm willing to captain. Like, I think Semenyo's minutes this week are going to be better than Haaland's. And that could absolutely kill me, but I don't know. That's just my current thought process. Try Enzo out for Dango or Tavernier. I would sell Enzo for Tavernier. Will you still play FPL, or if you be in the championship, or will you play the championship version? Lads, that is something I never had to consider. If Spurs were in the championship, we would not be in FPL. I know that's such an obvious thing, but oh my god. That is insane. To answer your question, I would still play FPL. And no, I would not play Championship FPL. Actually, Spurs being in the Championship would entice me more not to play the Championship version. That is insane. Wilson or Rice start? To be honest, I really think it's a flip of a coin. If it were me, I'd be playing Rice. I want to get Sobosai says chicken for Enzo. But Verts coming back in Prob's game week 30 is putting me off, and pushes Sobosai back. I agree with that, and that's why I'm not, overly comfortable at bringing in a Sobosai either. Spurs getting relegated might save the world. Brilliant question. It is a brilliant question. Well thought of. Hi from Liverpool. Hello from Ireland. Royce or Django in your team? Who to start? I will play Dango. High choice, Stack or Maguire for Haaland backup if he doesn't play. I will go Stack. Again, Leeds have been very good, I have to say. Stack is a monster, man. 40 minutes until the deadline, guys. Let's do another little scroll in the timeline. See what's going on the timeline. FPL Tips has gone Semenyo captain. Lovely that. Alright. I think I'm actually going to post my team now, guys. I think I'm going to lock that in and roll a transfer. Again, if I were on wildcard 32, I think I'd be more inclined to make a move this game week, but I just don't see it overly necessary. I actually quite like Semenyo as a captaincy option this week. I'm going to say captain. No, let's go Semenyo. What am I going to do? Ghana. Let's do overall 450k because that's where we're currently at. Lads, I'm absolutely sucking this game week or this season. I've been so poor, I'll be honest. And let's do rolling the transfers. Going to play more information. Happy enough to get Enzo off the bench if needed. I think Semenyo gets better mins even if Haaland is fit and might have some share of pens in the case he isn't. I'm happy with that, lads. Rolling the transfer. Going to play for more information about 31 given. Sorry, lads. Happy enough to get Enzo off the bench if needed. I think Semenyo gets better mins even if Haaland is fit and might have some share of pens in the case he isn't. Sorry, lads. English is not Englishin. Okay. Royce replacement. I probably would buy Tavernier if I'm being completely honest. What is Andy up to? Andy's having such a good season, man. Semenyo. Any news popped out? Nothing that I am aware of, and that's why I'm scrolling through the timeline currently. Again, if we do get any news, I'll be sure to let you guys know, but I don't think there'll be any special cartel news here. You're in the wrong place if you're looking for cartel news. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Sorry guys, I know I'm not answering many questions. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any content on the timeline. And by the way, some good games to watch. I feel like all of these games I wouldn't mind watching. Maybe bar the Everton one, which I do think there'll be goals in, but... Why are you replacing Rice? I don't own Rice. Salah or Semenyo captain? Greetings from Poland. If I had Salah, I would definitely captain. Choi is in the cartel. Imagine the cartel have their own league. They do indeed. What's your captaincy ranking? To be honest, I would have Salah number 1. I would have Semenyo just tied with Bruno, and then I'd probably have Ekatike. If I'm being completely honest. And you know what? The more I think of it, the more I want to play Krupi this week. I'm completely fine. I'm not comfortable benching Enzo for this game week. Choi's the FPL cartel godfather, imagine. Christian wants me to rate some teams. You're benching Cash, they expect a monster haul. Yeah, it's never nice benching Cash, to be honest. Because he's just one of those players who can pop up with anything in any given game. Alright guys, let's look at the games to come. Again, I feel like this Everton game is the game with the most goals. My team value is 100.2 million. Yeah, team value is something that's really let me down so far this season, lads. Like I feel like I'm genuinely playing with 3 million less team value than everyone else. Now I've got 102.2, so you know it's not the end of the world, but man, it's not looking great. Choisenberg. Don't love Bruno. He'd blank if not for the fluky dive. The thing with Bruno though is you never know he's in it, or you do know over a given amount of games that he's going to come up with something. Like he's just that good, and you know they look such a fluid attack, United, and they have looked this season, to be honest. Everton versus Burnley has 0-0 or a 1-1 written all over it. That's what I thought, chicken, right? And then I thought about it.
Start Roofs or Kelleher?
Thank you, Charles John, for the 2.98, very specific SGD. I don't know what that is. Let me quickly look it up. Singaporean dollars. Thank you, Charles. Much appreciated. Much love, man. Hope you're keeping well. It's actually the first time I've seen you in here. He says, start Roofs or Quavy and Kelleher. Look, for me, I think this is a decision with nothing in it. I think both teams concede, and if you look at any of the projections that are to come, it's very close. My head would be at playing Kelleher, and the reason for that is because he's the best pen saver in the world. Not only that, I think Brentford are better defence than Sunderland currently. So my decision would be in Kelleher. Again, very little in it, and if it swings either way, I won't be surprised. Don't own Semenyo. Thinking of captaining Ndiaye. Yeah, I'd have no issue with captaining Ndiaye. And just to go back to that, I actually feel like Ndiaye is a good option. My problem with Ndiaye is just like we're all saying, like Everton are just so unpredictable. So no part of me is comfortable with just starting and captaining Ndiaye. And also, I don't think he can get DEFCON this week. Again, that's not to say he can't, but most of his DEFCON this season have come in, close games, I want to say. Villa, he hit 10, which is not enough. Liverpool, he hit 9. City, he hit 11. And then looking elsewhere in the list, then 11 versus Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, 13 versus Newcastle away. I mean, they're all close games. I don't think Burnley will be, I think Everton will have more of the ball, basically. Bench one of Trafford, Haaland, and Enzo Chai. That's a tough one. I would be benching Trafford, but just. Would you take a -4 for Salah and DCL instead of Haaland and Rice? Kaka, I'm in the same position and I'm not doing it, so I guess that kind of answers your question. Wilson. Semenyo or Bruno Fernandes, Captain Shy? Well, I'm going with Semenyo, George. So Semenyo is the man I'm on. George, my thought process is right that Semenyo is going to get more minutes than Haaland, even if Haaland is going to play. If Haaland doesn't play, that means Semenyo's minutes are 1, better, and 2, likely that he gets penalties. So that's where I'm currently at. By the way, I just realized that I can actually interact with my sub button. Hold on. Let me go to my sub button and click the interact button. I just realized that I can... CPM program. Community Partner Manager program. Channel memberships, bootcamp, learn success strategies, and YouTube experts. Cancel. Now. Yes, now you can see my subscribers. So we're on 9,628. Again, if you aren't subscribed, lads, I advocate that you do. A nice way to support me. Would you do Salah and DCL if you're on a wildcard? Now that's a good question, Rascar. And yes, I would, because of the fixture in Gameweek 31. I definitely would. Is it worth a hit though? Probably not. I'm still confused on Rice versus Wilson. I would play Rice. Ekitike or Semenyo captain? I'm going with Semenyo. Wolves have been on an upward trend. Agreed. And the markets agree with that. Visser says... so, Red says, Hill or Minoz? I would play Minoz. Pass says Wilson or Rayan. I would say Rayan. Johnny says, for draft, Sanchez or Petrovic to Darlow is ridiculous. Also, close to selling... Cash Hall to Bogle Bassi. I wouldn't sell to Bogle to Bassi. Sniper says hashtag down with the cartel. Hashtag FPL Andy hate club. Lads, you have to cut Andy some slack. I don't think personally Andy meant to do that. Bruno is the same as Semenyo, no? Guaranteed 90 on pens plus Newcastle concede loads. Yeah, but it's that St. James's Park. You never know what Newcastle are going to come with. City are a better team at home. City are also more capable of scoring more goals overall. Semenyo has been on more form this season from a goal threat perspective, in my opinion. I think if you give him penalties, suddenly he becomes one of the best assets in the game given his minutes. But I get what you're saying, George. There probably isn't much in it. DCL in this week, says FPL is comfort. Good to see you, Kieran. Hope you're still absolutely smashing it.
What's up, Chai? Worth, Haaland greater than Eki and Rodgers greater than Salah.
Thank you, Ollie, for the super chat. Sends us 27 SEK. What is a SEK? SEK, this Swedish Corona. Thank you, Ollie, my Swedish friend. He says, what's up? All good as well. All is well and good, sorry, Ollie. Is it worth doing Haaland to Ekitike and Rodgers to Salah? I mean, Ollie, I'm in the same boat. And I've said that if I could do Haaland to Ekitike and Rodgers to Salah for free, I probably would. I have to do it for a hit, and I probably still cannot afford to do Ekitike in. I'm going to say yes. At the same time, I'm holding Rodgers and Haaland, so I think it is much closer than I'm leaving it to be. But my immediate answer is yes. And the reason for that, again, is the fixture in 31, which I know is definitely not confirmed for City. But again, it's different for me because I've got Semenyo. Holding on to Haaland is like, increases my chances of, if I'm back in City to do well and score goals, well, then having two players in the City attack makes sense. In comparison, where if you're bringing in two Liverpool assets, the same goes, same applies. And of course, they play against Wolves, so it's never going to be bad. George says he cannot remember the last time Newcastle kept a clean sheet at home, and that's completely fair. I'm with you on the captaincy with Semenyo, says Visser. Very good. Kieran says, dropped to 16k, hated life. Took a -8 last week for Hilson, Semenyo, and Virgil. Jumped back to 80k. Or 8k, sorry. Jeez. Kieran, the thing is though, you're still absolutely smashing it. I mean, you know as well as I do how hard it is to even reach those heights. And fair play. I mean, 16k or 8k at this point in the season is amazing. I'm going to back Bruno. That's what I love to see, George. You know what I mean? Captaining your captain away at Newcastle. Only way I can bring in Ekitike without taking a hit is selling Haaland. I'm the same. I have Thiago Krupi and have wildcard free hit and bench boost chips left. Well, then I'll be more inclined to do Ekitike, I guess, for Haaland because you can just bring him back in.
Chai, my team is FTD. Should I take -8 for Wirtz, Rice, Evanilson for Iwobi, Semenyo, Ikatuk? PS I have Esteve, Anderson and Dorgu on bench.
Thank you, Aryan, for the super chat. He says his team is, I assume you mean Fogada, by saying FDD. What is this currency right here? Aryan, you always super chat, and I still don't know what currency that is. Again, hold on, I need to see. I think this is the same as, I'm going to say Swedish. I could be completely wrong. It's rupee. Sorry, it's Indian rupee. I do apologize, Aryan. Should I take a -8 for Wirtz, Royce, Evanilson, for Iwobi, Semenyo, and Ekitike? PS, I have Esteve, Red Anderson, and Dorgu on the bench. Would I take a -8? I don't think I'd be taking a -8. I would be willing to sell both Royce and Evanilson though. Or Wirtz and Evanilson, given the fact that Royce has a good chance. That is tough. Iwobi, Semenyo, and Ekitike is a massive upgrade though. I think the only way in which I would be doing that, Aryan, is if you're willing to captain one of those players you're bringing in. If you're bringing in those three players and not captaining them, the -8 probably isn't justified for me. And I'd be more inclined to take a -4 of selling Wirtz and Evanilson, who are more likely not to start. And Royce has a good chance of starting, if you know what I mean. Red Anderson is no issue to play. So given that Royce does miss out, or you want to play him over Wirtz or Evanilson anyway, I don't have an issue with that. And I think this would be a 100% game where Anderson can hit DEFCON. So I hope that answers your question, Aryan. Kieran says, but I was 900 and loving life. Hurts more when you fall from grace. Exactly. But your expectations, Kieran, when you hit it so early on in the season, are definitely tampered. And to be honest, if I'm being deadly honest, and this is someone who's also fell from grace, not only this season, but even in the year I was second in the world. I finished the season 1,839. It really is about the ride. I know in hindsight, after the season finishes, we're like, oh yeah, I much prefer the final rank. But if that was the case, at the end of the day, we play for the ups and downs of FPL. We chase the green arrows, the massive captaincy swings in the differentials. And the dopamine of actually even hitting 900 in the world. So I actually think being at that point in the season is much better than finishing in that point in the season. I'll be honest. Did we get any Haaland news, says Liam? The news is that he's going to be assessed today in training. So no, not really. Royce or Kroupy, please, Kroupy. And also, Kieran, let me know how you feel about Royce. I feel like he genuinely is 50-50. I'm leaning towards him not starting, but it's very close. Alright, little scroll through the timeline, guys. Royce or Rodgers? Rodgers without a shadow of a doubt. For me, anyway. Captain Semenyo thoughts? Liam, I'm on Captain Semenyo, my friend. Will Keane start or be benched again? Trying to predict the Keane start or bench is too unpredictable. I cannot give you a concrete answer. I'll be honest, like. Who you captain, Choi? I am on Semenyo and I'm locked in. Rodrigo has torn his ACL. Well, effing chat. Let's see if Rob T done oh, there it is. He posted it. I didn't see this. So Salah, Bruno, and Ndiaye in that order. Tarkovsky and then Semenyo. So very little in it for the obvious ones this week. It really is just about preference in terms of a model perspective. Like, there's nothing in 0.8 or even 0.9 from Semenyo to Salah. And the one I'm opting for is the potential chance of Semenyo being on pens and being the stronger team. Your captain Dewsbury Hall, bold. Start Kroupy or Xavi Simons, my god. Definitely Kroupy. Saying that though, I would probably manage a way to play Xavi Simons if you do own him. Joe, just so you can stop spamming, I'll answer your question. You're 674 or 97 in the world. Gakpo or Szoboszlai. I'm going to say probably Szoboszlai, better minutes. Again, guys, I need to emphasize, it doesn't matter what rank you are in the world to determine who I would captain. Again, that's just always my standpoint. When I was second in the world, it didn't matter to me. And that made me realize that I'm always going to try captain the best captain. It doesn't matter who's around you, what they're doing, go with the best captaincy. Because at the end of the day, I know it can be very tempting to go different for the sake of going different. But you're going to opt for the most points, and that's all that matters in terms of, getting the best rank. Christian really wants me to rate some teams. Sorry, Christian, I feel like there's a lot to cover. Tarko up there as well. Brantway scored last week. Yeah, Tarko's a brilliant option. I love to see Iliman Ndiaye in this, so high in the season. This is the money fixture for me. What I'll be looking at for in this game versus Everton is if Iliman Ndiaye is going to average 10 DEFCON again, I actually think he might be a hold for the season. I know he's capable of getting it in the bigger games. Last week versus Newcastle, I called it. But if he can get it versus Burnley, that would be massive. Because that means at a floor for 6.2 million, he's a good option. Does Adley start or prefer Ndiaye? Let me quickly pull up Adley. I actually don't know how his minutes have looked in recent weeks. Adley's minutes has been 9, 65, 79. I would definitely go with Iliman Ndiaye. Semenyo for captaincy, that's what I'm on, man. Tom Headley has joined us with Semenyo. Love that. Rank captaincy options: Bruno, Gakpo, and Ndiaye. Bruno and Ndiaye are dead tied for me, just like how the models have them. I think they're both good options this week. Okay, nothing on the timeline, guys. Again, we will keep scrolling on the timeline as soon as we can. Limi, double check that my captaincy options are indeed set. Semenyo with the armband. You know what? I'm going to put the voice on Ndiaye just for the vibes of it. I like the look of it. I love the fact that I own Semenyo or Ndiaye for a week like this. And last game week I said that I do feel like it's a season where if you don't have the big holes, you're not going to do well. I look at the holes. Okay, no, sorry, that was a really poorly worded statement. If you don't have the massive holes like the likes of Mukiele, Roden throughout weeks, Ekatike last week, you're not going to be on many greens or making much ground. Where I feel like that could come for me this game week would be one, the Semenyo captain. Rodgers, I feel like, is a differential. In Ndiaye with Burnley at home, I'm really, really banking on. It is almost a differential holding on to Haaland and having no Salah at this point. Playing Senesi and having double Arsenal defence is definitely differential. And Sanchez on goal is a massive differential. So I think it really comes down to Semenyo and Ndiaye this game week on determining whether or not I'm going to have a green this week. Jack in chat says Hill or Enzo. I would be inclined to play Enzo if I'm being completely honest. Hi, should I start Rodgers or Antoine Stack? I would always play Rodgers, lads. If anything for me is going to come for Villa, who are third in the table, which I think is forgotten about, is going to come to Rodgers. 90-minute man. Emery has to play him because he loves him. Alright, let's refresh the timeline again. Any Haaland news? No, nothing new except from the press conferences, which were not great. Rayan or Ndiaye? Oh, they're fourth, my bad, Liam. I forgot after the loss they moved. Apologies, you know what I meant. I believe you. That's the United fans telling me that Villa are fourth. Hold on. It is United in fourth. Prem table. Hold on a second. Typical United fans, eh? Typical United fans. On goal difference as well. Have some shame. I should suspect none the less from you. H, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Alderete, Enzo, or Anderson. One to start. Enzo for me. Just so. There's not much in it, realistically. Alright, let's end this captaincy poll. It ended on 46% on Erling Haaland, which is, a surprise to me. I scrolled through my timeline, and to be honest, I ain't seen one person captain Haaland. Okay, bar this Gareth. Bar Gareth. Like, majority are actually selling him. Gameweek is starting him and captaining. It's been too long, says Liam. Fair. I completely understand that. H, I hope you're doing good. Rayan or Ndiaye and why? Ndiaye for me. Look. For me, it's the DEFCON. If you're bringing him one now, it is Rayan. But Ndiaye for this game week, for sure. Would you sell Evan Nilsson to Thiago tonight? Not tonight. I would do it right now. This moment, if I could. Should I do Obi Martin to Ekatike and Rodgers to Tavernier for a hit? Ooh. Now, those are good moves, Daquan. And a good question. I feel like it's one of those that nullifies itself. Like, it is justified, but just. Connor says, Haaland and O'Reilly in my stat 11 with one playing sub. Would you take a -4 or worth the risk? I would just play as is, Connor. I would just play as is. Why not captain Haaland? You'll get bailed out like everyone else did last week when he doesn't play. Because I think there's a chance he plays. Shush on Ndiaye, keep him quiet. Yeah, I know. Omega differential, and he has the capability of getting DEFCON in the Arsenal game, Chelsea game, Brentford game, Liverpool game, so happy to play him, to be honest. Not a big deal. Again, 6.2 million. We have 12 minutes until the end of the stream, guys. I hope you are enjoying the stream. It's been another enjoyable stream for myself. Again, I just joined as I finished work. Bench 1 and Buemo, Anderson, Wilson, Hill, Timber, have Gabriel. I will be benching Anderson. In DI or KDH? I mean, to bring in or to start this game week? In DI, of course. But if I were to bring in one, it would be Kieran Dewsbury Hall for the price point, and you can also get Defcon. Virgil van Dijk and stack for Richard and Anderson. Yes, obviously, of course. Yeah, he's not been involved with the goals, Liam, and that's been his issue. By the way, to the 170 you guys who are in here, again, do hit the like button and subscribe. Again, much appreciated. We have 11 minutes until the end of the stream, and we are still closing in on 10k subscribers. Only 380 subs to go. It feels like it's getting slimmer and slimmer as the weeks go on, and maybe I'll be able to do some more transfer plans videos and, you know, pump out a bit more, because again, I've only been doing the team selections, which is poor for me at the end of the day, but it's only what I've been able to do given that I've been in work and it's been quite busy. Good evening, Mr. Feather. Is anyone just after finishing work? Again, we are having our all-time high in terms of viewers for this stream, so I assume people are coming from work. Haaland out for Ekitike for you? I can hear it. I like it. Alex Iwobi deserves more love. This has to be either one, someone who's an Arsenal fan, or two, someone who's come from the above average FPL podcast. Bonus Points Monster was offered 2 bonus before he scored from a player with no injury concerns. Yeah, no, Kieran, I do like him as an option, I'll be completely honest. FPL is so much better without Haaland, I agree. Salah or Bruno captain? If it were me, I'd be going Salah. Watch, this will be the week Salah returns, man. And everyone seems to bring him in. Start flagged Wilson or Gravenberch? Wilson? You just woke up from New Zealand, Vince. Nice one. Start to Iwobi? Quite like that, but I wouldn't do it this week. Sar's got Spurs. And penalties. Ty says he captained Salah for his 4 points last week. Little from column left, little from column right. I knew it, Kieran. You're well in tune. Salah in big 26. Ha ha ha. That's the United fan coming out at you again, Liam. Come on. Rice and Haaland both will start. Title race is heating up. To be fair, the title race has been on since game week 0 in my opinion. Work at 6. Need to sell Ahmed to either Bob Marmouche, Xavi Simmons or Damsgaard. I would go Marmouche. I think. Maybe. That's a tough question. João Pedro to Ekitike. Yes. Chalobah to Tete. Don't mind it, but Tete probably isn't the greatest option, but not the worst given Fulham's fixtures. Captain Ekitike or Semenyo for me. All the Salah traction, but no one will bring him in, I'm sure. No, I think there'll be a vast amount of people to bring in Salah. Again, let's do a little scroll on Salah to make sure we're not missing anything ahead of the deadline, guys. Semenyo, Soboslai and Enjoy. Absolutely love those moves. Shall we see what Solio are predicting for my team? Last time I checked, I believe they were saying to do Salah and Haaland down to Haaland and Rodgers to DCL and Salah. Let's see if they've changed on that. Oh, they actually have. They've actually changed to rolling the transfer, which is, I mean, considering that's what I'm doing, always great. Happy days. The last time I checked, it was the double move and taking a hit. I wonder, is that because there's a good chance that Haaland is now fit? Well, I say a good chance that they do think, he's a decent star. Interesting that they have Enzo over Krupi. Maybe that's a minutes thing. But I'm happy to go into the week like this, guys. Mbuemo seems like a waste if not starting striker. I don't think that. I think Mbuemo is still quality. Captain HAALAND or Semenyo? I'm going with Semenyo. Thoughts on Richard, bro? Underrated. And overhated. Oh, lads, this is going to be a fun game week. The amount of deviation in captaincy is crazy. HI, start Dango or Minoz? I would start Dango, I'll be honest. Look, Minoz can get DEFCON versus Spurs, and I have no doubt he's going to be very advanced. Save free transfer out Evan Nilsson. Transfer him out. Vandenberg or Krupi? Krupi for me. I think it'll be a game with goals. Bassi versus Bogle if no money involved. Calvin Bassi. Chalobah or Minoz. Bench Dango, Thiago or Mbuemo. Dango. Would you bring in Richard for Marquis? Probably not. Thoughts on Royce to Szoboszlai? Don't mind it at all. Minoz over Dallo is a good decision right now. Yes, they play Spurs. Any chance we gain rank from Bruno without captaining him this game week? I don't think so. Bruno's 10 million now. His EO is very, very high, and a lot will captain because there's a flag on HAALAND. Look, as soon as you see this little icon here on HAALAND, you can guarantee that his EO is going to be closer to 100% than normal. By Tavernier or Wobie? I would probably play by Tavernier. Any leaks? No, Glenn. But you know what? That actually reminds me. Let's scroll through the timeline. HAALAND not pregnant. Alright, nothing on the timeline, guys, in terms of news. They play Spurs, yeah, it is painful. Why not in DI cap? Because I think I fancy Semenyo a bit more. Look, I don't mind the DI cap, but I'm more than happy to just own him. He's kind of been underwhelming recently in terms from a goal involvement. He's been good for DEFCON, but I mean, that's not what I want from my midfielder. Elliot for Rice? Yeah. Assume we mean vice versa, but yeah. Liverpool goals just dropped 0.18. Take from that what you will. Yeah, I saw that, Kieran. But I saw the comment section and what was it? Rob was saying about how it is likely to do with Wolves' form rather than a player being dropped like Mo Salah. Again, I could be wrong. And it is all if, buts, and maybes. But my current opinion would be that it is likely the market's being a bit higher on Wolves. Again, could be very wrong, and Salah could be benched, but let's see. Bro freaked out of NDI cap, shake my head. Yeah, but I would argue Semenyo is just as spicy. Kieran, I think Verts was projected to be out anyway, no? I could be wrong about that. Would you do Verts and Guy to Ekatike and a 4.5 million for -4? I don't think so unless I had no bench cover and 4 yellow flags. The thing is, all of those yellow flags could play. So I'm actually going to tell you not to take a hit. Because a 4.5 is a dead spot anyway. 2 minutes until the end of the stream, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. It's been very, very enjoyable. Bouncing all your questions. And for a week, that's going to be, a very up in the air captaincy discussion. I mean, looking at the projections for the week, they're very, very tight. Again, I'm just going to refresh the timeline to make sure we don't get any City leaks 2 minutes before the deadline. I know they play on the next day, but just in case, you never know. You never know, guys. Prass is locked in. He's actually gone with Haaland captain. So let's look at the engaged managers that I follow. We've got Prass with Haaland captain, Lucas with Haaland captain, Flapjack with Haaland captain, Oscar with Haaland captain, Pickle with Haaland captain. Jeez, I didn't know it was that popular. Maybe it's more popular than I thought. So it doesn't look like we're going to get any news about Haaland, and I think it is safe to say that no cartel is backing him to not be starting this game. Anyway, that was my team for Game Week 29, guys. We have the information for Game Week 30 next game week, so stay tuned on the channel. Do hit the like button and subscribe before you leave. It's been another very, very enjoyable stream for myself. I hope you've enjoyed it after work. Cartel, what have you got for me? Exactly, Maximilian. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Best of luck this game week. Spam the green arrows for anyone who has the membership buttons. Much love for joining this stream and anyone who sent us the extra super chats. I'm going to leave it there. Again, I feel like I've answered as much as possible and the stream is just about over anyway. Best of luck this game week and enjoy the football. But as usual, I will see you in the next.